Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs. You used to associate crickets with silence. But since you bought a house in the suburbs, you know crickets hate silence. If any other creature realized rubbing its legs together made a piercing, high-pitched noise, they might think, maybe I won't do that. Constantly. All night long. Luckily, you can save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. Now that's something to make noise about. Just not constantly. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Hashtag no music, no intro. Another episode of Hashtag Saints for the Podcast coming at you. I know you might have thought, oh, it's the off season. There's not really a whole bunch to talk about. Listen, there's a lot of shit to talk about for the Saints right now. A lot of, we could spend an hour-ish talking shit about the Saints. Now, we're not going to go that long, but with the upcoming super wild card weekend, whatever the fuck it's being called, this is the perfect time for us to really just hit on all the movements and shakings pertaining to the team in New Orleans. I want to make 2 points, and then we can dive into Sean Payton and teams that's gotten permission and all that. I want to dive into two things off the top. First is Tennessee Titans, right? First thing they did on Monday, Black Friday, got rid of Todd Downing, their offensive coordinator, and multiple other staff or coaches on their staff. Okay? The Jets, today, fires their offensive coordinator, Michael LaFleur. I watched a couple of those Jets games, bruh. Watched a couple of them. They're not watching, but, saw Red Zone. And when Mike LaFleur had Breece Hall and he was dealing with fucking Zach Wilson some of the season, what? Y'all scapegoating this man?
That's cold-blooded.
It's cold industry. But, boom, he's fired. Washington Commanders got rid of Scott Turner. Why is it Wednesday? I don't care that it's the first week of the quote-unquote off-season for non-playoff teams. Why is it Wednesday and Pete Carmichael, a man who did not want this, he did not want to be OC. This was known before they started interviewing offensive coordinators. Man said he was Jon Snow. I don't want it.
I don't want it.
Don't want it. The meme, the gif of the Scare Straight where the kid's getting woken up in the middle of the night, bro, or early in the morning, just crying. That was Pete. That was Pete, bro. That was Mickey and DA. Wake up, Pete. Wake up. You OC. You OC. This man coached an offense that at one point in the season didn't score a single point in the football game. First Saints shut out, what was it, 20 years? 21 years? I don't even know how long, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Last game of the season, scored 7 points, Ryan. Lost to the Panthers by 3 points because the offense couldn't do shit the entire rest of the game after the first offensive drive. I don't care if you got to put out a nice press release and it's the team and Pete Carmichael have mutually agreed it would be in the best interest to part ways. Pete will. I don't care. And this is my issue and my problem with this team, especially that Sean Payton's no longer involved with it. These are easy fixes. And maybe I'm being hyperbolic and maybe I'm being too hard on them because maybe there is a plan. But when DA had his conversation with the media on Monday, it's we still got to evaluate. How do you still got to evaluate your situation, but other teams in the NFL already had decisions made on the same fucking day?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. So you telling me like the evaluation that hadn't been going on?
Oh.
Like how if that's the case, like that's a problem. It's like you should have been evaluating already. You know what I'm saying? Like what do y'all just they actually bought into the thing that like, oh, this is a playoff team. They bought into that shit.
They did,
y'all
bro.
believe that?
Thank you for making that point, because it ties into my second point, and we can get back to the OC point. But the second point I wanted to make, and I really thought about this during this entire week. Okay, I think you said it perfectly on the podcast. Is that as long as Dennis Allen is the head coach of the team is coached with the expectation of the hope of we might just get in the playoffs and win a game, like a playoff game. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna spit this bar, and if you're a fan of the Saints or you're a fan of football, I want you to understand it. The difference between Sean Payton and Dennis Allen as head coach of the Saints. With Sean Payton, we would have to worry about there'd be a couple of games throughout the season where if the Saints lost, we knew it would affect playoff seeding, right?
Yep.
Maybe we don't get home field. Maybe we got to be the 3 seed or the 4 seed. But it was more about affecting playoff seeding and positioning. When DA is the head coach of the team, the losses are we picking top 5 or are we picking top 10? It's that simple, bruh.
That's simple, baby.
It's that simple. This, like you said, this team had this mirage of being able to make the playoffs in one of the worst divisions in such a long period of time. And that mirage throughout this whole entire season handicapped them and blinded them in terms of their self-scouting ability. Completely.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I need to know what, like you said, what is there to evaluate? Like how are you behind the 8 ball in evaluating when other teams
they gotta just decompress and not come at this emotional and take a real analytic view to what really is going on and weigh the pros and the cons and all this and this bullshit.
Bullshit, man. Ryan.
But you know what? Like, look, man, like the Saints are just a weird organization, bro. Like, look, I can't remember who brought it up, but like even like when they had Rob Ryan, and clearly Rob Ryan was going to be on the outs, and Sean Payton brought back Dennis Allen to kind of just look over his shoulder, and everybody knew what that was. Like everybody knew, like, okay, Rob Ryan getting fired at some point, Dennis Allen going to be taking over his defense. You know what I'm saying? But they have this weird thing where they just can't fire the motherfucker. Like they fire motherfuckers in the NFL all year, bro. All year. And it's like the Saints have this weird loyalty at times, man. Especially to like, if you were like on that coaching staff in the Super Bowl, boy, you stamp. You stamp, bro. You ain't going nowhere, bro. Like I'm telling you, like you said on the last part, like Pete not gonna get fired. Like he's gonna put on the press release.
No,
he's gonna move to a senior assistant of, third down offense. Some shit like that.
Hopefully not that, nigga. That 3rd-and-1 call against Tampa Bay cost them the game, bro. Like,
I mean, they were terrible on 3rd down this year. So I mean, but it's gonna be some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna get fired. They're not gonna do.
No.
Not gonna do that.
You said it perfectly. There's the whole weird thing when it comes to loyalty about the team. It's in a lot of ways, it's not ran like an NFL team. It's ran like a mom and pop.
Yes.
Business. And
a family business. I tell you, I work at one. I work at it's a fairly large company, but it's a private company that's owned by a family. And it's a very simple, it reminds me of the Saints, the way they operate. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about, friends of the family, and it's just very, just who's connected to the right people and who worked there long, and she's been here 25 years. It's really like that, you know what I'm saying?
But
and it just reminds me of the Saints so much. What are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we actually doing here? You know what I'm saying?
I want to go back to the whole thing you hit on about loyalty, because it goes into my next point. And this, I tweeted out. I haven't been very active on social media. It's been very, very busy week for me work wise. But I tweeted out. Feel like all off season, bro. Every time we talk about this team, I'm just gonna be the black guy with the glasses at the podium, bro. Just out here just spinning sermons, bro. They just getting under my skin. Get under my skin, Ryan. The thing about loyalty is that it also seeps into the fandom.
Yeah.
Perfect prime example, Marcus fucking Davenport, bro. We wax poetically about Marcus Davenport in that Panthers recap. I don't understand, and I'm going to say it again. I know I said it before. I don't understand how you end the season more out of shape than you started the season. Like, how do you not play yourself into playing in shape, bro? Like, that to me is an indictment on him as a player. That's an indictment on the coaching staff. That's a lot of fucking red flags. A lot of red flags. Finished with a half a sack and a whole ejection.
A whole ejection.
Whole ejection.
Can we talk about the he did an interview with Mike Triplett where he's still struggling with confidence, bro. Still struggling with confidence. And look, man, like, I'm a human being, and I don't knock anybody that's dealing with, you know, any kind of mental health issues, self-confidence, things like that. But you know what? You don't have to play for the Saints. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like God bless you, bro. Like, I really hope you find success.
But take the problems elsewhere, nigga.
Take that to some else, man. Like, I want just a clueless defensive end that's just nasty. Just think he the greatest athlete to ever touch the planet. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want. Like,
Big Creep.
I ain't got no time for this. Big Creep think he the best thing to touch the field, bro.
He consistently outplayed Marcus Davenport all season, bro.
Consistently, bro. And just after gaining weight and everything.
And so you still have some people in, like, the Saints fandoms just like, well, yeah, you just give Marcus Davenport like a market, like a below market deal or like a market deal. Like, no, like, why? Do you, as, like, someone said it perfectly, a friend of mine, shout out to Elise, said it perfectly, or a friend of ours, is like, y'all got problems with boundaries, like, in real life. Like at what point do you just say, enough is enough? Nope, not gonna do it.
Right,
not gonna do it.
Just no, moving on.
Moving on. But going to the whole thing, loyalty, word on the street is Saints want to bring Marcus Davenport back this offseason.
Which is not surprising. Not surprising at all. It is. And look, I mean, from just a like building a roster standpoint, I somewhat get it, because like we talked about, like their depth in the D line is like about to get obliterated this offseason. Even people like, you know, Streets and Tona and all those guys, all free agents. Like, so they are going to have to, like, just sign some guys. You know what I'm saying? But for me personally, bro, I just rather pay somebody else. I pay my little bro. Sean Robinson a free agent. Pay Sean.
I don't want to hear anything about the devil, you know, but, like, no, I know what this devil is. He done showed me consistently how he is for 5 years. Don't need it no more. I don't need it no more.
Consistently inconsistent. And I don't
and
want that.
They said let's do that for maybe another year or two. Maybe next year gonna be the year. It's loyalty, bro. It's loyalty.
It's crazy.
It's sunken fallacy cost. It's loyalty. Mm-hmm. It's all of that mixed in, and that's why I really think, and it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. But I really think. And I know, can Mickey, if you're listening, Mickey, I want to address you directly, Mickey. I'm talking right now to Mickey. I'm not talking to Ryan. I'm talking to Mickey. Can you hire someone that has little to no ties to the organization?
Oh my God.
Who is not going to come in and try to sabotage the Saints and just give you and try to say shit to make the team worse or make the organization worse, but can you hire someone, just one person, just this objective person who's worked in the league,
objective, bro,
evaluates teams. What up? I'm gonna feel dirty saying it, but maybe call up Dan Orlovsky, bro. Like, pretty knowledgeable dude. Yeah. Like, somebody, nigga. Like,
it doesn't even have to be somebody in the NFL. It could be somebody from media. Bring Mac Mayock, suck yeah. But just come in and just another ear, like just another eye to come in and say, yeah, this guy kind of sucks.
You know who they should call? They should call Daniel Jeremiah in that bitch, because Daniel Jeremiah was real on the money.
On the money, bro. I tell you, matter of fact, I stopped listening to podcasts for a while because of this. I was listening. It was before the season started. And Bucky, they were going through like the top five rosters in the NFL. And Bucky Brooks was like, he had the Saints at like number 2, second best roster in the NFL. And I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? This was around the time, we was getting hyped for the season, you know what I'm saying? And then Dan Jeremiah was like, nah. He was like, man, he's like, I'm just not seeing it, bro. Like, they got this problem, that problem, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, man, fuck this podcast. I ain't listening to shit.
Fuck DJ. I unfollowed him, bro. Unfollowed him. This again. Us sports fans, bro. Like, sports fans. This is us as sports fans. Like, and we're not even hyper fanatic, but there's still like things that we do that is some.
I tweeted DJ like, man, look, you're pretty knowledgeable, but you don't know nothing about the Saints. Like, you just
tweet him, bro. Called him out. And then when we started sucking, I had to find that tweet and was like, had to hit him with the Shaq meme. Like, oh, sorry, I was unfamiliar with your game like that.
Meanwhile, Peter King saying we going 13-4 and shit. Like, I'm like,
call up DJ.
I just showed you.
Call up Mickey. You need an objective eye, just give you an honest evaluation about the team, because I'm trying not to be super pessimistic, because you do have building blocks. They got Chris Olave, they got Shaheed, they got Juwan Johnson. Assuming that they do right by him in free agency, he doesn't go elsewhere, because I never know with this team. But you have some building blocks, but there's some shit like we didn't even hit on that. We didn't even know this when we did the recap. Trevor Penny has a Liz Frank injury that's worse than Cesar Ruiz. Like, you can't even bank. You can't even bank on. Like, that's pain, Ryan. Pain.
That was one of the few little slight positives. Like, okay, at least you got Penny. He looked physical in the final game.
Ruiz had improved in year 3. Like,
nope,
no. We got McCoy, an achy degenerative knee, achy hip, Ryan Ramczyk. Ruiz still with
funny. It's funny though. It goes back like when the Steelers drafted Kenny, we said it, bro. Like, that's a move that Saints gonna look back on. Like, I ain't gonna say like, oh, we regret, but bro, like, just imagine if they did take Kenny instead of Penny. And this is not no indictment on Penny. Penny could very well end up being like a great player. I enjoy watching him, by the way. But he could very well end up being. But this is not that. But just imagine the difference of the feeling of the season.
The entire trajectory.
You say you had Jameis, then you put Dalton in there, then you get through half the season, it's not looking right. Then you get Kenny in there, he takes his bumps and bruises, then he starts looking promising. You just got a whole different feeling about the season. Like, okay, we got a little something here going in the next season. Let's go get 2 wide receivers and a running back, build around Kenny Pickett and see what he's going to do. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different feeling you have. But now it's like we're in the wilderness where we don't even have nothing to look forward to, like, bro. Like, it's
for the whole trajectory of the team looks completely different.
That's why I say records aren't the same. Like, what's the Steelers record? 8-9 or something like that. Very similar record to us.
Yes.
But they have a completely different feeling going in the next season. Even though they're sitting at home just like us, they had a subpar season just like us, but they have a different feeling going in the next season. And that feeling may not work out or not. It may, Kenny Pickett may not elevate himself at all and could be trash. Who knows? But you're on that
Steelers finished 9-8.
9-8. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it just goes to show you that, like, man, it's just like about team building and what you're setting up to do, bro. And I just had a feeling that passing up on Kenny Pickett like that, It's like, man, he would have fit this little offense nicely, man. I was like, dang.
You do not get chances in the draft very often to make, and when I say quarterback of the future, I don't mean like a top 5 quarterback for 10, 15 years. But if you like, let's even say top 15, top 16 quarterback play for 7 or 8 years, to get that at 19, Ryan? 19?
I'll say this about Kenny Pickett. Even though he isn't a world beater, he's already shown something that even Dalton hasn't shown in his career. Where, when shit gets a little crunchy time and shit's getting hot at the end of the game, like he making some second reaction plays, he's moving around, he making some plays, you know what I'm saying?
He does. Whereas he did that at Pitt.
Dalton, yeah. Whereas, like, I'm not even gonna talk about Dalton, man, because that's why I tweeted that earlier this week, bro. Like, Dalton played fine this year. He played fine.
He played like Andy
That
Dalton.
last game was horrible.
Bad.
Yeah, that last game was horrible, though. Like, that was a bad game by him. But I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want to see it. Yes, if you surround him with like 4 all-pro wide receivers, a great offensive line, a great defense, yes, he will probably be fine. But it's like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, he doesn't elevate at all, bro. He's not clutch. I just don't want to see it. I'll take anybody, bro. I can't do Andy Dalton. It's so boring. So boring.
Can't do it. Can't do another season on the Red Rifle, bro. You out?
I can't take it. As a backup, he's fine. Like, if I need him, Andy Dalton, for 2 games, like, yeah, I can put it. But I don't even want that, because I feel like if you have him there, he gonna start at some point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's the type of quarterback that like defensive coaches love, man. Like,
bro.
He's like, oh man, we're going 15 play drives. We could win the games, 13-10. I don't want that. I don't want that shit, bro.
Like how like if you have that thinking, even if you're a defensive coordinator, if you have that thinking at fucking 2023 and playing the game of football, like you got to go. Like, you gotta go.
Go back to that game in what there was 2021. Sean Payton was out with COVID, and Dennis Allen coached that one game against Tampa, and they won that game 9-0, 9-3, or whatever it was.
It was 9-0. It was shutout.
Yeah. That was him. Like, that was him. He saw that and he's like, man, I could live like this. I could go to the playoffs like this. And no. In this NFL, no. Chasing 20 points.
Self-scouting, bro.
Nah,
bro. You brought up a good point in terms of like how like you talked about kind of coaching and teams finish, and I quote tweeted something, and say what you will about Elon Musk and he's a piece of shit, but like kind of seemed like the analytics of your tweets is a little interesting to see, and so this tweet by like the Twitter metrics or whatever kind of went viral is a speech that Dan Campbell was given to the Lions after the Green Bay game. Lions finished 9-8, by the way, and they started the season like 1-5. Just saying, coaching. And I quote tweeted the video that the Detroit Lions Twitter account had put on Twitter, and I just said, you should have stepped down a season sooner at Sean Payton, even though I'm blocked on Twitter by Sean Payton. And if you can't tell the difference, and I know people last year didn't believe in Dan Campbell being like a good head coach, but like if you watch those games, like really watch those Lions games, they were in so many games talent wise, they had no business being in. Yeah, they got off to a rocky start. They didn't start off great this season. They start off 1-5. If they didn't shit the bed against the Panthers in week 17, they're probably in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's how crucial coaching matters across
Jared
the board.
Goff.
Jared Goff, bro.
Who was just giving it to them just just take Goff. You know what I'm saying?
Like salary dump, like a salary filler, basically.
And he been cooking.
He looked so good at points this season, Ryan, with coaching from Ben Johnson and that offensive scheme. I was like, damn, Jared Goff looking kind of sexy in this bitch. Like, man out here throwing them things. Like, does the scheme help? Yes, but like let's roll it back, go back to coaching. Say whatever you want to say about Sean McVay, whatever. He might step down from the Rams. I highly expect him to take a season or two off, whatever. Baker Mayfield looked like a completely different player when he got in Sean McVay's system in the limited time he was there than he looked at all during playing for the Panthers.
Unbelievable.
Sam Darnold, although he had a shitty game against the Saints in the last season, but during spurts when he got the job in Carolina this season, and after Matt Rule was gone, he looked decent and serviceable. And so I'm not saying like they should go with Sam Darnold.
Ben McAdoo.
Ben McAdoo. I mean, I said in the live stream, man, did Ben McAdoo, or I tweeted, I was like, did Ben McAdoo eat another Ben McAdoo? Like, his face was fat as shit. Nigga's face was fat as shit. And I don't want people to go, oh, you can't be talking like that. That's fat phobic. Shut up. I'm fat. Shut up.
Me too, motherfucker.
But let's go to the whole coaching thing, because we be remiss. We kind of talked about the whole Marcus Davenport thing. I didn't want to leave out. So basically, what it was is that their contracts would have voided. I believe it was this week, and so basically the Saints pushed the dates back where the contracts for Marcus Davenport and David Onyemata would void until March. So it gives them more time if they're potentially going to bring them back and sign them to like a deal, and then they don't have to worry about dead money or less dead money or whatever. Gives them time. So I should be clear in regards to putting that out, because that was reported by Phil Yates, I believe it was.
Because the Saints got to clear like 50 something million in dead. I mean, not dead money, but over the cap money to get under the cap before the start of the, before March.
League year. Yeah. We got to talk about Sean Payton. Let's close this out. Talking about Sean, I might be missing a team. But as of now, there's 3 teams that have reached out to permission from the Saints and received permission from the Saints to talk to Sean. Houston Texans, Cardinals, Broncos. Am I missing a team, or is that all 3? Is there another team I'm missing?
That's all 3. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all 3 that have received permission, I believe.
Permission. 2 things off the bat.
I think 5 teams reached out. Yeah.
Okay. 2 things off the bat's very interesting to me. One, the Miami Dolphins reached out last offseason, like I don't know exactly the month, but when he stepped down in February, the Dolphins reached out. And the Saints didn't give them permission. The Dolphins came out, started off saying we'd give you a 1. Saints said no, we not. It goes back. And that may have been a situation where maybe Sean wasn't ready to go into coaching, but if you leave Mac Florio and some other reports, like they were trying to put Sean Payton, Tom Brady together last year and have things pop off. But now this season they've given permission to 3 teams. We've already kind of talked about the Broncos thing. Sean can't officially interview in person with these teams until the 17th, which is next Tuesday. You said it. I think you said it perfectly on Twitter. We're going to get a lot of answers potentially starting next week. Breaking down these teams, I'll start with the Cardinals. We already kind of talked. We've talked about the Cardinals. We talked about the Broncos in the past. They're kind of the new player in all this is the Texans. But starting with the Cardinals, fired Cliff Kingsbury. Steve Keim stepped down as GM because he's dealing with the medical related leave of absence. This man said the man is in rehab. Like I don't. Adam Schefter can like post X-rays of JPP's like blown off hand, but this man won't say that a GM is in rehab. Whatever. Make it make sense.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Right? Everybody knows. Everybody. But the thing that's interesting to me about the whole thing with Sean and the Cardinals is the first thing that people are saying is like, well, they would have to get the Cardinals would have to give up the third, like the 3 overall pick to get Sean. I'm like, I don't I would be shocked if that were
blown away.
If that were to happen, that also then completely then changes the whole, again, the trajectory of the team, depending on who they were to draft and if they were right on that draft pick, if you're the Saints.
Yeah.
But the thing that still I don't get, that doesn't make sense in this whole Cardinal situation, is the whole looming Kyler Murray at quarterback thing. We talked about this on early episodes. Kyler Murray is not a Sean Payton quarterback. That has nothing to do with potentially his play, but like Sean Payton wants his quarterbacks, especially a quarterback, you got to live and breathe football. Like, it has to be your life, essentially. Because he's that meticulous and he's that much of a competitor. I'm not trying to say Kyler Murray is not a competitor, but when your agent signs off on a clause saying that you got to study extra for fucking film study, I'm saying, nigga, like, it wasn't put in your contract for no reason, even though it was taken out of your contract. So I think the big thing right now is, if you're the Cardinals and you're Michael Bidwell, who's the owner of the Cardinals, and he's pretty much has come out and backed Kyler this week, like, how do you convince, if this is what's happening, how do you convince a person like Sean Payton to roll the dice with Kyler? Is that conversation? Because let's not also forget, Kyler has a torn ACL and I think maybe even a torn MCL. He is not playing football next year.
At least the beginning.
At least I would be shocked if he played football next year. Like, he injured that way later in the season. But time will tell,
man.
So I wonder what the pitch is, right? Because you're gonna try to get him to believe in Kyler, and then Sean loves a challenge. So, like, if he has to start a whole entire season with fucking Colt McCoy or whoever, that's nothing to Sean. Light work for him, right? But I wonder if those conversations are in year 2. If you have a season with Kyler and you realize that he's not the guy for you, you will have the power to trade him if deemed necessary. It's just tricky. It's just, the Cardinals thing to me is such a tricky negotiation that I don't know if I see it as a logistical place.
Yeah, I don't either, bro. Like, I had the same feeling you have. Like, that's the only thing I could see if they say, Sean Payton, you can come here and you have complete control. You won't get rid of Kyler, whatever you want to do. You're not tied to anybody. Then I could see it being a more attractive spot. Bidwell is a really nice guy.
He is
a loyal owner.
He extended Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury when they should have been and gave him a 10-year contract, Ryan.
No goddamn, like, everybody's like, why? But he's a really nice guy. He's very loyal. Like, Steve Keim, man, he fumbled the bag so many times as a GM, but I mean, he stuck with it. He's been part of the organization since like the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just one of those.
Has he been with the Cardinals for that long?
That long, bro. You know what I'm saying? So he's a real loyal dude. So I could see that owner being somebody that Sean Payton would like. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not like an owner that, you know, sticks his finger in. He just wants a winner. That's all he wants. You know what I'm saying? So I think that would be key for Sean Payton. Like, who am I working for? Because whoever Sean Payton goes to work for is going to have a direct line. He's not answering to a GM. He's going to answer to the owner.
Period.
So he don't want to fidget the owner. The Broncos, well, we'll talk about the Broncos, but like, they have a new owner, you know, a descendant of the wall, Mark family or whatever. Who knows what that is? Like, it's like, you don't know what type of owner that is. It's not starting off good because he fired the coach after 1 year, which, I mean, deservedly so, but still.
Oh, yeah,
he's one of those.
He needed to go.
Yeah, he needed to go. Like, but it's just one of those things. Like, is this going to be like a thing just a revolving door type of thing? You don't know because it's a new owner.
Nathaniel Hackett said in the press conference he felt like he was like a little in over his head or something like that. I was like, what? He said, what? To the media? The coach?
Oh boy,
I knew that man was on borrowed time when he said that
gone,
shit
bro.
out loud, bro.
Gone. But yeah, back to the Cardinals. It's just like something just don't feel right about it. Now they were talking today about them trying to trade Nuke Hopkins, so like maybe they try to get some picks so they don't. So maybe they try to get picks so they don't have to give up the third, or they're not going to give up the third probably,
It's not
but
gonna.
just to have more picks to trade. I don't know.
So I could see the only thing I could see it working the way of the Cardinals is Sean Payton says, "All right, I'm in, but this is what I need you to do. I need you to find a team, figure it out cap wise. That's not my problem. Like I might get my guy Kai in New Orleans to come over here and figure this out. But figure this shit out cap wise. I don't want Kyler. Don't want him. Find a trade partner. I'm pretty sure, even though he, has a torn ACL, you can find a trade partner to trade Kyler Murray to in the league.
Can he?
He would.
You think so, bro?
I think so, bro. I think so. Like I know we're down on him, but it wasn't more than like a season and a half ago, or not like a season and a half ago. Like for like half of last season, he looked like he was an MVP candidate.
Yeah,
like you know what I'm saying.
You're not lying, yeah.
So I don't think it would be hard. And Sean says keep the 3 pick. We'll figure out trade compensation. Maybe we trade Nuke. We trade him for 2, maybe 2+. And then you can maybe give a 3 to New Orleans this season, or 3rd round pick, or to New Orleans this season, or in the 1st round, 3rd to them next season, whatever. I want to keep 3. I'm going to draft my quarterback of the future at 3. That's the only thing to me that would make sense. Because maybe Sean hasn't been watching football. Like Sean hasn't been coaching, so he's probably had more time to maybe have like eyes on upcoming quarterbacks and things like that. Maybe he doesn't think there's a huge difference between CJ Stroud and Bryce Young or Will Levis. Although I don't think Will Levis is seem like a Sean Payton quarterback to me. And he'd be fine with either one of them at 3, assuming that they're one of them is there when the Cardinals are on the clock, right? Only way I could see the Cardinals being an option. Going over to the Broncos. So let's switch over to the Broncos real quick. One thing that's very interesting to me about the Broncos is that they are casting a wide net. So they have permission to talk to Sean. Yeah. They've been also, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but I know they've had like potential talks with like Jim Harbaugh. And then I think Schefter reported today that they have already interviewed David Shaw, the former Stanford head coach. Like that, to me, that is how you conduct an actual coaching search. Saints, take lessons.
They're doing work.
Take lessons. Like when you got to find your coach, they're not trying to. It's not even a situation where they like, oh, we know we're gonna get Sean, so we're just gonna bring these other people in and check some boxes for the Rooney Rule, and we got our guy. No, like they are legitimately seeing who's going to be the best guy for the job. Saints didn't do that last season with DA. So the whole Broncos thing to me is still kind of fascinating, because in terms of the teams, they would have the lowest to give up pick wise, right? They would basically be giving up a bottom end 1st round pick from the Niners, and I'm assuming trading that to the Saints, and potentially 2 or 3 additional 3rd round picks, right? Does Sean Payton have the challenge that he can fix Russell Wilson? I don't know. I tweeted it during week 18. Man, Russell Wilson had some throws in week 18 that's kind of looked like old Russell Wilson. He was looking good. I was like, there's something there, man.
I was like, is Russ showing out for Sean? Like, I know he wanted to complete for Sean.
Like he out here doing little strip tease, like showing the thigh.
So a little nip.
Ooh, can I see the aureola through the white shirt? Ooh, that bitch look good. Like he look good. I was like, okay. Like he made up throw like off script for like a deep ass pass, and it was like one of them rough. I was like, Russ back, bro. Like I don't know. Anyway,
I could work with that.
So the Broncos is interesting, but the new player in this is the Houston Texans. New player in the field.
Very interesting.
Sean loves a challenge. Loves a challenge. Okay. Nothing. What?
This is a challenge right here.
Oh, let me pose it to you like this. It's a challenge, but I think the Texans in that division isn't as far off as people think, depending on drafting the right players. But could you imagine not a bigger feather in Sean Payton's cap than making the Houston Texans like the same level of relevance or like as popular in the state of Texas as the Cowboys?
Oh man, I know Sean would love that shit.
Love it, bro.
He would love it. He would love it, bro.
So let me break down the roster to you for the Texans. You got Tunzel, who Sean was standing on the draft table telling him to draft Tunzel during what draft was that? 2018? Was that the Sheldon Rankins draft? Yes, it was. When the whole Bong video thing came out. Mm-hmm. And he was talked down. They drafted Sheldon Rankins instead. Okay. Probably not the right pick, but whatever. No. But you have a good tackle duo in Tunzel and Tyson Howard. You got a running back, Damian Pierce. Straight north and south guy. Looked really good at spurts during the season. On defense, you got a safety in Petrie who showed a lot of flashes. You got Stingley at corner.
Yep.
You got the 2 pick, and you can draft a quarter. You could, assuming the team does not trade up with Chicago, and it's a big assumption because you might get jumped. But if, like I said, like if Sean is okay with either quarterback, you get a CJ Stroud at 2. You get a Bryce Young at 2. Bryce Young kind of seems to be more like a Sean Payton type of quarterback. And with Sean and coaching and like, it doesn't seem as ridiculous to me. And then I think at that point, in terms, if we're looking at grab compensation for the Saints, it's like, oh, well, we got wouldn't it be the just weirdest shit, bruh, that these niggas was in like the Deshaun Watson drive, like, I can't even call it a sweepstakes, bro. It's a gross stakes. The Saints, and then due to that trade, Houston has the 12th overall pick from the Browns, and then that ended up going to the Saints in a Sean Payton trade, bro. Wouldn't that be some shit?
I thought about that today, bro. I was looking at it.
Did you?
And I was like, that would be a trip.
Wouldn't it? It would be a trip, bro. Like,
but I could see it. I could see
you
it.
Could, right?
And the thing about the trading thing about the Texans is they got a lot of picks, they got a lot of money, cap space. Like you as a coach, you can go ahead and make your own thing. Now the only catch is Nick Caserio. He's still the GM.
Okay. So can I say it? Can I? Only way Sean's going there is that if Nick Caserio is not there. That's all. So if you see a report online or if it gets reported like, oh, the Texans are firing Nick Caserio, it's like, oh, you might want to pay attention.
Something shaky.
Telling our fans, telling our listeners, you might want to pay attention. But as long as Nick Caserio's in the GM, Sean, wherever he goes, he's going to want to bring his GM, whether that be Jeff Ireland, whether that be Ryan Pace. But whatever, do you, Sean? He's going to want to bring his own guy. He's not going to go to the Texans with a GM who's already in place. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Not going to happen. But you start thinking about that, you start thinking about the Texans. I'm just speaking this from a Saints fan. You're like, man, the Saints could get the 12th overall pick, and then they maybe get a couple of thirds from the Texans, and then they're the Texans. So those thirds, they're like high thirds, bro. Like they're not low thirds. Like, I guess depending on who's fucking making the draft picks, like you can cook. You can cook.
Right. No question.
To me, that's just a very fascinating very fascinating team that has entered the mix. But really I think fans who listen to this really need to maybe just understand maybe there's not a team out there right now that Sean goes to. Like Sean seems very, and I know that Breer, put this in his, I don't know if it was morning quarterback or whatever it was, put in an article this week, like Sean might just sit out another season, man. And like he got a cushy job in Fox. He living in LA, he getting paid still decent money just to talk football.
And for the Saints, that sucks.
Yep.
Because he'd be 2 years removed from football. He'd only have 1 year left on his contract, so the leverage is pretty much gone. So that would suck for the Saints. Like that would be a real fuck you, like a double fuck you to the Saints. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's the situation they're in. You know what I'm saying? So that's why this weekend is so key to me. I am so fascinated to see what happens with the Chargers, with the Cowboys, and Miami. Those three teams. I just want to see what happens because there's already talk about McDaniels in Miami. I don't think he's gonna go nowhere. That would just be so foolish. But I don't think he will. You know what I'm saying? So I don't either. But just the Dolphins, like it's, and they were interested in Sean Payton last year, so it's like that's there.
Let me ask you this,
and they already forfeited a pick about it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
correct.
They already pretty much gave up compensation,
bro. It's just like fucking the meme, bro. Fuck it, I'll do it again. I'll do it again. If you're the Dolphins, this is not coming from a Saints perspective, but if you're the Dolphins, if you had the chance or choice to either stick with Mike McDaniels, this was his first year as head coach. He did some great things as an offensive football mind. I think he still has a lot to learn in terms of just team management and knowing when you need to sit your players and whatever. But offensive mind wise, like he had Tua cooking for a second, bro. Cooking. Tua.
That alone makes it worth it.
Alone, bro. That versus potentially you could have Sean Payton and Tom Brady. And maybe, and this is a big maybe, you can win a Super Bowl as soon as next season. Like I'm saying, as an owner, if I'm what's his name? I can't even think of his name right now. Steve Ross. Yeah, if I'm Steve Ross, man, I gotta think about that, bro. Like,
gotta think about
it. You gotta think about it because you like maybe I can. Maybe I can stay with Mike McDaniels and it's going to work out long term. It's going to be great. But like, it may not, right? But it's like, man,
right?
Like Sean Payton, he already got a Super Bowl, and I can get Tom Brady, and like, you gotta think about it, bro. You gotta think about it. You really do.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's why I'm finding it interesting this weekend. Then you got the Chargers again. I don't think they're going to let go of Brandon Staley. But it's possible, like
if the Jazz go in there
flames.
I'm saying if the Jazz go in there and deep dick them, bro, like dick them down.
Like the Jaguars,
who was like not even like they had started like 2-5 or 1-5, bro. You getting beat. But I'm saying this, bro. If the Jazz go in, well, the game is in Jacksonville. But if the Jags like beat the Chargers by like 20 plus points and it's not like competitive, bro, you got to think about it, bro. Gotta think about it.
On a side note, bro, I'm not even a Jags fan, but I would love to be in that stadium, bro, for that game, bro. Like I know that bitch gonna be hype,
humming, bro, humming. As a like Brandon Staley, you could. It was just so weird. Because he does a lot of things coaching wise where it's like, you dumb. But like having his starters play for as long as they did in week 18 when your playoff position was locked, and then Mike Williams gets like walked off and carted off the field. Like, what the fuck are you?
Kind of broke back?
Oh, he broke his back, bro?
I mean, some kind of back issue.
Oh,
man. career could be changed. You know what I'm saying?
The doctor said
He's like a key player, like your best wide receiver, bro. Like, what are you doing? Oh. And Albert Britt brought up something I've been thinking about with the Chargers all year. It's like, man, is the owner gonna pay? Owner pay Sean? That's the thing.
Cheap,
that's a cheap ass dude, bro. Cheap. So I don't know. Because he probably look at it like, Britton Stanley, I'm paying him, $6 million a year, whatever. I'd rather just keep that $14 million, change and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We'll see. Then you got the Cowboys, who's always lurking. You know what I'm saying? Just always out there, just lurking. I mean, we don't know with Jerry Jones, bro. Another one and done in the playoffs.
Jerry Jones and Sean are very similar in how sometimes they just do things just strictly based off their emotions, bro.
Off emotions, bro. Off emotions.
Which why, like, if Sean went there, like that shit would either be good, like real good for like a very short period of time, or it will blow up real quick. There's no in between, bro.
No in between, man. He'd be trying to retire again.
But if the Cowboys, like if Tom Brady go in there, I mean, it's in Tampa, right? So it's at Tampa because they won the NFC South, so it's at Tampa. But it's just like I said about the Jags, that Jags Chargers game, bro. The Tampa Bay Bucks, who looked like uneven pretty much all season, and I can
say the same for Dallas. Like the offense been uneven, the defense. They started out as game beaters, but now they just like.
So
they was struggling. Sam Howell was throwing deep bombs on him. Like, what is going on here, man?
Cooking. Also, shout out to probably maybe the only shout out I'll give to Brian, but that was Brian's dude in the draft, bro. He loved it. He really liked him some Sam Howell. He did.
Yeah.
I just if Dallas goes out flaming, bro, like lose by 30 plus points or 20 plus points, and it's not close, bro. Monday, Jerry might. We see one of them press conferences where Jerry out there talking like, there's gonna have to be some answers. I'm like, oh shit, are there gonna have to be some answers, Jerry?
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so you're gonna have, see what happens this weekend. Then you got the 17th looming, knowing that's when Sean Payton interviews with these teams, and he's been cleared to interview with these teams. So it's going to happen. At least the interviews are going to happen. That would light the flame for one of those three teams or all of them to make a move if they do want Sean Payton. So that's why next week is going to be real fascinating because we're going to get answers some kind of way. Like what the answers will be could be Sean Payton just say, I'm going to stick with Fox. Whatever it is. But we're going to find out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're going to learn something.
We're going to get closure some type of way. But I just wanted us to record. We're not going to have any episodes this upcoming weekend. Even after playoffs games, we can talk about them next week. I'm pretty sure there'll be more Saints shit to talk about next week and kind of go over the playoff games really quickly. But I just wanted us to put this episode out because there has been, even though the season ended on Sunday, from Monday to like now, I feel like there's just been tons of information that has come out. And so we wanted to get this out there. Thank y'all for sticking with us even through the off season. I know sometimes like this is kind of the prime time where our numbers may dip a little bit because people don't want to hear about football in the off season unless the games are actually going. But for y'all who continue to listen, continue to support, thank y'all. We truly, truly appreciate it. You have no idea the difference of what that makes and how much it truly, truly helps us in terms of listens, in terms of like ads and all that. We appreciate it. I really encourage everyone who is a listener, become a Patreon if you can, even during the off season. I really feel like this off season, even if you, just by being a Patreon, even if you're in the Discord, it's worth it because all I'm going to say is you might get some information that's accurate and that's reliable. That's not going to be on Twitter. It's not going to be anywhere else except in the Discord. So I'm going to say, bro, I ain't going to say too much else about it. But
hello,
that's all I'll say. But thank y'all so much.
Program. I got a little programming note.
Go ahead.
Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a live stream with Saints Talk New York. Just look up Saints Talk New York on on YouTube. I'll be doing a live stream with him talking Saints. And Friday at about 1 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to be on ESPN New Orleans. Shout out to Brian Bienemy. Going to be on there talking some Saints. So, just check us out. Trying to get that Saints Twitter podcast out here.
Always. So thank y'all for listening. We'll be back next week. Enjoy the football games, wild card weekend. I'm going to be out of town in Texas visiting family this upcoming weekend. I'll be back next week. But we still may have set it up and have like a Zoom live stream during the game. So we're, people are still getting together. So if you want to be a part of that, the details should be in the Discord in terms of getting all that set up and everything. But with that, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back next week. We out.